The next item is the chair's report. Would that would be what Elaine would normally cover, correct? Or do you have a report?
Correct, and that's typically where Elaine will update the committee on what happened at the last board meeting,
Which I did, and as
it's like a memory quiz to see if you can remember what happened.
sheesh, yeah, I wasn't planning on this. No, I really was mostly at the board meeting during the initial part where we reviewed a lot of the materials that we had covered here in our meeting, and I reported to them what we had agreed to, what we'd asked about, and the comments that had made, a lot of the things that are in the minutes from the meeting. And I believe on their agenda were that they were going to cover some of those same things, the expansion of Direct Connect and so forth. And so you know, was there any great revelations beyond that at the?
No, as I recall, the board approved all of the items that you had recommended, the Direct Connect program. Cassandra gave a brief update on the planned service expansions coming up in February. And that was pretty much it. There was the real debate and ongoing discussion that happened at the meeting, and then may happen a little bit more at the next meeting, is about our negotiations with the city of St. Pete Beach about our bus rapid transit project, and the fact that St. Pete Beach is forecasted to be the highest ridership location for the first BRT route in the county because of all of the hotels that are there, but they are not a paying member into PSTA. So their city would have to pay us out of their own city budget. And there's a lot of debate about that, whether they want to do that or not. The city of St. Pete Beach has major sewer problems, sewage problems, just like a lot of other cities do. And so those are, they're trying to find the money. But we've made some good progress in the last month with the city, so I'm still very hopeful we'll work out a deal, but it probably won't be until next year. But other than that, the meeting went well. Yeah.
Is there a backup if they say no? What's the backup location?
Well, the board is going to probably have to look at a couple different options. We're looking at all these different options. We're looking at running the BRT to Treasure Island as an alternative, straight on Central. We're looking at running it just to the tippy top of St. Pete Beach, which is 75th and Gulf, there where the trolleys and the Suncoast Beach trolley connect, as an alternative. We're looking at seeing if the hotels might put some money into it from the hotels themselves, since a lot of their workers and tourists will use it. So we're looking at all different plan Bs. Hello.
Hello, I'm
You made
so
it.
sorry.
We got our chair.
Yes, sorry everyone, I got stuck out at that construction stoplight mess.
I have a question regarding the minutes from last one.
Okay, well, that's the next item.
Okay.
How and why did Will Smith have to work for Direct Connect for this vehicle?
How and why?
Yeah. I was looking in the street last one. I didn't make the meeting.
Okay. Well, Direct Connect is our new program where we connect people to catch the bus.
Right.
It's not part of DART. DART is still 100% care ride. But Direct Connect is pretty much open to any vendor. We are open to having any vendor who wants to participate can participate, and it's up to the customer. It's completely up to the customer who they want. I mean, they pick Care Ride if they like Care Ride. If they like Uber, they pick Uber. If they like Lyft is now part of it. If they want Lyft, they can get Lyft, taxi, or wheelchair transport.
Just when I saw that, it put a bad taste in my mouth. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification.
You never have to ride in a wheelchair transport.
No, not again.
Oh, no.
Awesome, so are we up to meeting minute
Now we're
approval?
up to meeting minutes.
All right, did everybody have a chance to review the meeting minutes from last month?
No.
Any questions, comments, clarifications? All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
And
I
second?
second it.
Awesome. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Super. And now for the fun part, the election of officers for 2017. So how are we handling
How are we gonna
that?
do this? Okay, so
I'll
here,
let Miss Cassandra kind of go over that, I think.
hi. Hello. For those of you who don't know, I'm Cassandra Borchers, Chief Development Officer. Give this to Carson and pass it.
It's
Let's
right
pass
here in
these
the
out.
way.
So, do we have everybody, do we have?
So funny.
You're just taking a break.
It's like I'm on sabbatical.
Yeah, you can run out sabbatical, that's it, right?
So you see in front of you, all of the people who are eligible to be officers. And the way that we put this list together is those people who have been on the committee for at least a year. And that is we changed a lot of how we were doing things. We can fill some spots early. We usually do that in January. So if your name is here, you are eligible to be an officer, including Teresa, even though she's not here. It was just a little mistake. So ignore that piece right there. And so we put everybody's name on that list so that we could have open nominations. So I passed out to you a ballot for the chair. And so before we actually vote, we'll take nominations from this list, and you can circle those people's names and then vote for those people. When we're finished, we will have a separate ballot for vice chair. Last time we did this, we did,
Just one ballot.
we had people vote and say, somebody who got the most votes was chair, and the second most was the vice chair. But we ended up with everybody voting for the same person, Elaine.
It's
So
a
it
little
was
embarrassing,
kind of, so we
actually.
sort of had to figure out how we were going to get a vice chair. So that said, we said let's try it a little differently this time around. So from the list in front of you, and you can self-nominate for chair. And like I said, we have a separate ballot for vice chair when we're done. So I would like to hand it over to the chair, who has.
I still don't quite understand what we're doing. So from this list, I'm asking for nominations?
Yes,
From
from
the
this
floor?
list, you can ask for nominations, yes.
Do I have any, and we're doing that verbally?
Yes.
Okay, do I have any nominations for chair for 2017 from anyone?
I'd like to nominate Gloria.
Super. Anyone else? Wow, this could be.
Like, I mean, I have to short
I was gonna
list.
say-
Is anyone else interested in doing it who hasn't
Yes,
been
anybody
nominated? That was-
interested in.
Yeah, because last
Yeah.
last
You
year
can
I
self-
said I wanted to be
you can
vice chair.
self-nominate.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't know what it is, but I want to nominate myself if I can.
Is she eligible? I can't see.
I don't
who
think
it
I'm
is.
eligible.
May not be
though.
eligible
I don't
yet.
think.
Not, you are eligible to vote and but not eligible to be
Chair.
nominated.
Yeah, okay.
Because, so the idea is that you have at least some idea of how the committee functions if you're going to be chair or vice chair.
Makes sense.
I'm also interested.
Carson?
Carson.
Okay,
Yeah.
super. Thank you, Carson. Anyone else?
I'm interested in vice chair just so I can learn about it before I go to
Go
chair. So
right.
I would rather,
Oh, thank you.
if you're going to do a separate ballot, I'll hold off and wait.
Awesome. So we have Gloria and Carson. Right now, anyone else? Do we want to go with just you?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay,
So there's no
so,
vote? They
You
won't?
can vote for Gloria or for Carson, and I'll collect the ballots.
Do you pen?
And
And
then
do-
we'll take nominations for part. Yes, you get to vote.
Does anyone need a pen? Pen, anyone?
So Gloria is second from the top, and Carson is third from the bottom up. You go around the collect.
Yes. super secret ballot, it's like voting for president.
Yeah, exactly. No hanging chads though, so we're safe.
And no electoral college for this.
Oh, God.
This is the direct vote of the people.
That's right, absolutely.
He's not allowed to.
I'm not voting, I'm not voting.
You're just keeping track of who, right?
So while,
That's funny.
pass out the ones for vice chair.
So here's a question, because Carson and I are both the ones nominated for chair.
Right.
One of us is going to be chosen as chair.
Then that other person can be nominated.
But
Yeah, but we don't know who it
yet.
is.
We don't know yet, we're waiting.
Yeah, we're waiting.
Oh, so we're gonna know
first.
immediately.
Okay.
Okay, we didn't do that last
All
year
right.
either. so-
Yeah, okay, that sounds
Gotcha.
fair, yeah.
Not 3:30 in the morning, yes, or the next morning, depending.
Yeah,
on-
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was one of the people who stayed up till the 3:30.
I went to bed,
I went to bed at 10.
yeah, I went to bed early. It's going.
Okay, very close vote, but our new chair for 2017 is Gloria. Everyone, please cross Gloria's name off your vice chair ballot, because she is no longer eligible for that position. And we will now open the floor for nominations for vice chair.
I'd
Gloria,
like to nominate Carson.
do you accept?
I do.
And Mark, you expressed an interest as well?
Yeah, but it's fine, he can have it.
Yeah, exactly. You can say yeah, absolutely.
Okay, sure.
Somebody's gotta give Carson a run for his money. I mean, you know?
Any further nominations?
Anyone?
Once, going twice. We'll close the floor for nominations. So your choices are Carson Zimmer and Mark O'Hara. Please mark your ballots. Marianne, the left one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm actually looking forward to it.
So
During
Gloria,
the
you will
break.
be presiding at our January meeting, because we do not have a meeting in December. And if for any reason you cannot fulfill your duty, we will find out shortly. You will be
You will. Awesome.
So I'm just gonna stay up here because Cindy's not here, so when you're ready for the next thing.
I'm sorry, what? Oh, so we're not finding out who the vice chair is?
No, she's working on it. I'm
Oh,
just filling the
okay.
space.
Are you doing the sunshine law?
I am.
Oh, okay. That's what I was gonna say in the Clearwater
Okay.
improvement, so.
Okay, we had a very nice showing for both, and Carson is our next vice chair.
Awesome, yay!
Thank you both. Thank you both very much for serving.
Thank you.
Super. All right, so I guess on that vein, Cassandra's gonna give us a brief overview of some of the meeting etiquette and sunshine law considerations we have. Yeah, Dave?
Can I just say that that's a great procedure to do, nominate, vote, nominate, vote. I've been in many clubs, and it's been very confusing. Let me just comment.
It did work out well.
Thank you, thank you, Mary Ann.
Yeah. Super. Spot on. Thank you. Yeah, jump on in with the meeting etiquette if you'd like.
So, Sangeeta had to take care of some family issues, so I'm here in her place. Every year we go through both some policies that we have here at PSTA, as well as some state laws that, because you're part of this committee, that we need to make sure that you follow. So the first is in the packets that you receive, and if you don't have a copy of this, we'll certainly get you another copy if you need one, are the bylaws. The bylaws set the structure for how the the organization, the committee is run. And I would say that the most important piece of that is the attendance policy. So you each receive, for your service, a monthly pass to ride the bus, and we happily give that to you because we're so delighted that you're here. Part of the reason that we have this committee is to make sure that the rider's voice is heard to the board. A lot of the materials that come to the committee are action items that are going to the board, and whenever we present an item to you and then we present it to the board, the last thing we say during the presentation is the track committee recommended, or the track committee had these questions. And so what you do here and what you say here and what the discussions you have here get to the board and their considerations when they make decisions. And so your attendance is critical. There has been a time when we had trouble getting a quorum, so we couldn't take votes. So the committee could make suggestions but wasn't officially recommending anything because there was no vote on an action item. So attendance is very important. We do have a policy in the bylaws that says you must maintain an 80% attendance rate. And we've become quite flexible in how you achieve that. So you can say, well, I can miss one of every 5 meetings, or essentially 2 meetings a year, or in a 2-year term, 4 meetings. And so we know there are people who sometimes you have trouble 1 month, and sometimes you have trouble several months in a row. But we do give you a lot of leeway. So within your 2-year term, you are allowed to miss 4 times. We do send you a warning letter after you've met. We'll give you a phone call at 3 misses, a letter at 4 misses, and we will ask you to leave the committee if you miss 5 times. It can be, you can do this 4 times over the course of the term, or you can do it 4 times in a row. But we do keep track of your attendance, and your attendance is very important. Note that if you do miss a meeting, we do not give you the next month's pass either. We will not mail it to you. We do not make that a practice. So you must show up. That's the most critical part of being part of the committee. And so in terms of the bylaws, I would say, please review them. That is the most critical piece of the bylaws. For meeting etiquette, we have not had any problems with this lately. I think this is a very congenial group. But the way that we like to operate the committee is that when staff makes a presentation, staff will refer back to the chair. When at the end of the presentation, the chair will then help facilitate the discussion. And so, as I mentioned, nobody has done this lately, but we have had some issues in the past. So we do encourage people to raise your hand and allow the chair to call on you, and so he or she can facilitate the discussion in a way that is calm and collected and make sure that everybody gets a chance to talk. We also ask that you be nice. That's what all these 6 bullets, I can boil them down to. Be nice. And then lastly, and the most important, is the Sunshine Law. Florida public entities like PSTA have a legal responsibility to operate in the sunshine. And what that means is that all decisions that are made by the board are in a public forum. So you notice that we always have a public comment period at the beginning of the meeting. You may, if you are at home sick one time and you cannot come in, you'll know you can watch the meeting online. So this meeting is actually being live streamed, and you can also watch it later if you say, oh, I don't remember what that person said, or I'd like to see that presentation again. All of that is online. And that's part of our responsibility to make sure that the public has full access to what we're doing and the decisions that are being made. Because your committee makes recommendations to the board, and you are taking votes on those recommendations and not just a working group, your meetings are also subject to the Sunshine Law. So you have in your packet some sunshine law do's and don'ts. And part of the other responsibility for government in sunshine is for us to post meetings. So anytime we have a meeting, and let's say you want to discuss with staff something that is coming before the committee, you are free to do that. You can absolutely do that. And you can talk to us anytime. If for some reason you say, I'd like somebody else on the committee to also come to that meeting, we need to publicly notice that meeting. And so understand that that's how we make sure that the decisions that we make are open to the public. So on your do's and don'ts sheet, you'll see that you really should not talk to any other committee member about business that is coming before the committee, unless it is in a public forum. If you talk here, that's great. And you have any conversation that you have here can be overheard by someone observing the meeting. And I think that's important to know.
And is on video.
And is on video. So you can really cannot ask staff what other people think about things that are coming before the committee. So we can't tell you, like, this person said that, that person said this, unless it is in a public forum that the public can see. You should not send any emails to this committee about topics coming to the committee. You can send out opinions, but you cannot send a reply. Do not reply to anything like that. Do not have a conversation outside of a publicly noticed meeting.
What about questions? Because sometimes there have been a few situations where, like, for example, Elizabeth and I were both at an MS meeting, and, for us to ask, say, like, well, what did they mean by this at the thing, or, you were just asking about the whole thing with wheelchair transport. I saw in the minutes that there was something, what was that about? Can we answer each other's questions, or is that already a violation?
If it's a decision that's already been made, and you're talking about what's happened,
Yes.
I think that's okay. You cannot have a conversation about an upcoming vote, and you should not have a conversation about something that may come before the committee. Like, if you have an idea for if Elizabeth, you're at a meeting and Elizabeth says, I have an idea for something that should be on the track agenda, it's blah, 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 blah. Gloria, your best response is, that's great. You should tell staff.
Call Cassandra.
And say, I don't want, we probably shouldn't discuss it here. Now, if you're talking about your pets, or, your last Uber ride, or, something like that, then that's conversational. If it's, if you're talking about what you're doing for Thanksgiving or Christmas, or your vacation, and you've just seen each other at the Dali, and you just say, hi, how are you doing? How's your mom? All of that is okay. All of that is okay. As long as you don't talk about an action item here that should be here. You also cannot abstain from a vote unless you have a disclosed conflict of interest. So if you have a conflict of interest, you should tell us, and you can abstain from the vote because of that. But other than that, just because you can't decide, or you don't want people to know, you're here to make decisions. And if you are unsure about whether your conversation is sunshine or not sunshine eligible, then you should probably just err on the side of caution and say, let me ask about that. Let me ask staff about whether I can talk about this particular thing with somebody. You are, again, free to be social. outside of this forum with each other. I'm sure, many of you run in the same circles. If you see each other on the bus, you can always say hello. Feel free to talk to us, talk to staff. And you are free to talk to other boards and other committees. So any one of you can talk to board members, and any one of you can talk to an MPO committee. It's just when you talk to each other that there's an issue. Any questions about that? I probably didn't do as good of a job as Sangeeta, because she's the attorney.
Can I just add a couple things to that, actually? One, for those of you who I've not had much of a chance to interact with, and for that I apologize, I missed last month. I just want you to be aware, and for everyone for that matter, that staff is extremely open at the PSTA to contact, to discussion, to your input, to your suggestions. They are a phone call away, and I have never once made a phone call to a staff member, even if I got a voicemail, that I didn't have a callback or a response from someone else by the end of that day. I mean, they're very interested in what we have to say and the input that we provide. So I encourage everybody to really reach out to staff. If you don't know who specifically to talk to about a particular issue, contact Cassandra, contact Brad, contact someone, and then Marianne. Sorry, yes,
Marianne should be your first
But
line.
my point
to get
being that
directed to the
even
right person.
right, my point being that even if they aren't the right person, they will get you to the right person to talk to. So that's one. Two, I would highly encourage you, if you have an opportunity, even if you don't go to everyone, try to attend a board meeting, because it is really interesting to see where our input goes. As Cassandra said, everything that we provide at this meeting is really taken into consideration by staff, and that's very abundantly clear when you see their presentations a couple of weeks later at the board meeting. They often refer to what the track has contributed during their presentation. So it's really interesting to see how important it is to staff and how that information flows through staff to the board, and how the board takes it into consideration as well. As far as attendance, two things. I just want to stress, even if you're an alternate, it's still important that you be here, because every once in a while, whoever you're the alternate for can't show up at the last minute. It's also good that you have that information, so going forward you can make better decisions as well. So don't feel like if you're an alternate you shouldn't attend or don't have to attend. That's part of what you do. And last but not least, Cassandra mentioned being nice, and it's more, I think, than being nice, because everyone here is very professional and personable, but if you can keep your comments to something constructive, it's not just and not that I'm suggesting anyone here hasn't, but just if you can offer constructive criticism or perhaps solutions to what you've seen, along with what you're commenting about, that is always taken into consideration too. So it's more than just being nice. It's really bringing something to the table from your own personal experience as a transit rider and contributing that to the PSTA. So that's, I think, all I had to say and add to that. So, thank you.
I'm up next.
Do it.
I thought you were going to get a little break. But, is this the right one? Just to check to make sure it's on. You ready?
If you're following along, yes, this is page 23 in your packet. Yeah, I know. I know it's in here somewhere.
I know I didn't print any of this out.
So over the past few months, we have talking a lot about the Central Avenue BRT and a lot about St. Petersburg. But the staff is working on things all over the county. We know about the Direct Connect program. We've gotten a lot of other programs started. We wanted to give you an opportunity to see all the things we're doing in Clearwater. And we're going to move one of these projects forward and at the board meeting, which will be the Clearwater Intermodal Center. So we'll go through some of these projects. This is an information item on your agenda.
This is not an action item?
This is not an action
Okay.
item.
Thank you.
And sometimes he gives me these weird looks. And I think it's that he's intently listening, but then it also looks like I just said something wrong. It's always important to look at your boss during the presentation.
Sorry.
So in October, we celebrated the 7-day-a-week Jolly Trolley service. So now there is Jolly Trolley service from Tarpon Springs all the way to the beach 7 days a week. And we are also looking at some other operations projects with the Clearwater Beach Express. So some of you already know about this project, and it is it's part of our legislative agenda to ask for the funding to operate service from TIA to Clearwater Beach 7 days a week from 5 a.m. to midnight every half hour. This is really important for us to get people to work both at the airport and at the beach, and also connect these major tourist destination to the airport. This would be an express service, so we plan about 4 stops to connect to the other parts of the system, but it is something that we've been working on. The other things that I'm going to talk about are more the capital projects, and I'll go through those one at a time. So right now, when you look at all of our services across the bridge from downtown Clearwater to the beach, we have another number of different trolley services: the Suncoast Beach Trolley, the Jolly Trolley South Beach, Jolly Trolley North Beach, and the Jolly Trolley Coastal Route. And if we extend all of those to make sure that they connect downtown to the beach, we could have 7 trolleys an hour go across the bridge. But there has to be some place, and that's where that black circle is, some place for them all to connect, both in downtown and on the beach. And the beach has been more of a challenge. So we are looking at a bus transfer location at the beach. We've been working with the City of Clearwater staff. So we are looking just on the west side of Little Bridge as you get closer to the traffic circle, so just east of the circle, and is near Barefoot Bay if you're familiar with that. But there's a bit of right-of-way there, and we're looking at some opportunities to have about a space for about 3 or 4 buses right along the street. It would also be our first queue jump, meaning that buses would be able to pull out of the transfer location while the traffic is metered behind it. So we'll be able to pull out in front of the traffic. So it kind of helps the transit get a little bit more into what's happening and not get so stuck into the congestion. It also prepares us for a landing spot for the Beach to TIA Express. So if we take that route that we're planning and bring it down the beach and up the beach, it takes a long time to get to all those places. So this would be a place for people to come quickly to the beach from the airport, and then in that parking lot owned by the city could be vans from hotels, Florida free rides if you're familiar with that, and also they could get on a trolley there. And so the 2 things: one is your regional trip, you're getting there very fast, and then once you get to the beach, getting on those circulation services. So it is designed for 3 buses. We're working on some images for a shade canopy, and we'll bring those back to you. We're pricing those out right now and discussing that with the City of Clearwater. It would be accessible to the parking lot, as I mentioned, and we'll bring this back to you as we get closer to some decisions about it. The next project is the Clearwater Intermodal Center. And this would be a replacement for our Park Street Terminal, which is currently undersized and has some things that we need to take care of maintenance-wise. So it would replace the aging Park Street Center, and also gives us a little bit more space. Again, we've been talking to the city of Clearwater, and they actually own this site, which is at Port and Myrtle, where the old St. Pete Times building was. It's currently cleared. But we are going to move forward with planning and design. We have a grant for this that we've been holding off using as the world sort of evolves. We are going to move forward with the planning, environmental, and through final design using this grant. So beginning in January of this year, we will engage one of our general services consultants, so one of our engineers that we have contracts with, and we'll work through the project to talk about what exactly is going to be there, how is it going to be designed, are there any issues that need to be cleaned up, how is it going to affect traffic, was the remediation that the city did enough, and we have to do additional environmental work on the site. So things like that, and so we'll have the consultant engage this group and tell you as we move through the project. If the project was funded through construction, we could have it open as early as 2020. But since we have the money through the grant for the planning and the engineering, but we don't have the money for the construction, going through the exercise of the planning and the engineering allows us to have a project ready to go. And so when there is an opportunity and somebody says, do you have a shovel-ready project, we can say yes, and we can ask for that grant opportunity for the construction dollars. Everything under this is grant funded, including staff time on this project. So again, it's a great opportunity. The grant itself could not be used for anything else as it was a discretionary grant. One of the other things that we're working on with the Florida Department of Transportation is taking another look at the Memorial Causeway Bridge. And the department is looking at, can that raised median be changed into a one-way busway? This would allow our current services to have an advantage over the congested roadway. And as you know, when you go to the beach, it's usually in one direction is very heavily congested and the other is free-flowing. And so this would be a reversible lane that we could use. They are looking into this, and we should hear soon about whether this is a possibility from an engineering perspective. We've been looking at this a long time, and we've had different ideas floating around. There is a pedestrian bridge as you get closer to the beach that's used sometimes for emergency vehicles, but this really isn't allowed. Buses aren't really allowed on that pedestrian bridge, even during the most congested times. So this would be a good solution for us if it's possible. And it also fits with all the other investments that we have going on at the beach. And then the last project that we're working on, which is more of a study, is the presentation you had last time from the MPO. And I know that was a lot of information, but basically what they're doing is they're trying to fill the gaps. So I've outlined very specific projects that we're working on, but they're looking at the whole big picture of how we get people across the peninsula in this area, and how we create that complete street that includes transit and fill the gaps in between all of the projects that are going on between the DOT, who's doing some operational improvements along State Road 60, and then all of our projects across this corridor and to the beach. And so that's her presentation that you saw last week in a nutshell. So I know there's a lot of information behind each one of these projects, and as they come to a point where we take them to the board, then we'll bring them to you again. We'll probably, some of the bigger ones, you'll come in interim information so that we can get your thoughts on the progress.
Questions or comments from Cassandra? Dave?
I loved it, thank you. I read when the PDF was given, or the PowerPoint was given to us in the email, I read it and I could have given the presentation what was given to me. It was so perfect. I mean, I could take that out to a church or a condo association. Thank you very much. The one slide made no sense to me. If you'll put it up, the one with the diagrams on it, 27 or 4, back one, that one. What is that? I have no clue. No, it looks very great.
These are our early engineering drawings.
Yes, of what?
This is the roadway here, and then in here is this is the existing sidewalk.
Ah, okay.
And we are cutting out the
I see.
grassy area here
Got it.
and paving it to fit up to 3 buses in there.
That's a cross-section of the road.
This is a plan view of, these are all plan views,
Oh, no.
top down.
Oh. Got it,
Yeah,
top down.
it's like an aerial view.
That's an aerial view.
Gulf of
Okay.
Mexico is to the left,
All right.
and down to
Yeah.
Water.
The
The 2 arrows are running on Causeway
And
Boulevard.
so we'll bring a rendering to you next time. With
Okay.
It took me about 5 times watching the PowerPoint to understand.
No, yeah, it's just that.
So here, so.
It's
Yeah, it's that,
Exactly.
exactly.
This area right here,
Got it.
we would make into an access point for the buses. So the buses would come off the bridge, come into this, the transfer center. There'd be a canopy here and a walkway to this, parking lot. And then, people would be able to wait underneath that shade canopy. There. And then, you see this stop bar, we either leave it or move it back a little bit so the buses could pull out of the bus bay and get ahead of the traffic.
Got it.
And that would be the first queue jump in the county, maybe in the region.
A question, queue jump, what is
Yes.
that? I'm sure I've seen it, I know what you're talking about, but just queue jump, like a starting
Queue, the
point,
queue
lead out.
like a line, like you're standing
Yeah.
in line, like British people
Oh, that
say,
kind of
like
queue.
online or
Okay.
Queue.
in the queue, they say in the queue, or,
And
you
then
know,
the
like
jump part
New Yorkers
is
say online.
the first
right?
guy to leave.
So what it means is that they get to jump the traffic. So we signalize the
Oh.
traffic to stop and the
That was
bus
the
goes
next
through.
question, you said something about metered stoplight, or metered something, and that's
Yeah.
what you're talking about, stop the traffic, let the buses do what they need to do.
So that stop bar operates right now, and if you go out there, you'll see a stoplight. When the traffic gets too heavy on Coronado and the Circle and Mandalay, that traffic light stops the traffic, so that the traffic can clear and then allows people. Sometimes you see it, cities like Philadelphia or Chicago, when you're getting on an interstate, and
Yes.
you might have to stop as you're getting in the on-ramp, and it's because it's called ramp metering. So it sort of meters out the traffic so that you're not having this bottleneck created by too many people
And that's
trying to
already
get on.
there.
So that's already there, and so some of the technology that we need to do this is already in place. We just may have to move it back a little bit so that the bus can come through.
Beautiful.
Carson?
What's the likelihood, what was FDOT's response to taking out the median, or they're just seeing if it's actually possible? That they seem really encouraged by the idea that, is it more likely or not that's gonna happen, or, I'm just curious.
It's hard to say, you know, it doesn't mean that there won't be any cost involved.
Right.
And that's really what we're trying to get to, is how much will it take in order to do that? You know, do you have to build a whole new bridge, or if the bridge structure would hold, you're not really adding a lane, but you're adding some weight
Right.
to the bridge with the bus. So is it structurally sound to do that? Is the first question. The second question is, how much would the conversion cost? And that's what we're really trying to get to, is how much would the conversion cost, because then we could start asking for that money in order to do this. And one of the reasons that we as staff really like that project and the opportunity to do that is because with this capital improvement, we would not have to make any new operational investments, and we would get a huge operational benefit. So we could really be much more efficient with our operational dollars if this capital investment was made.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea. I really hope they can make it
That
happen.
bridge was originally designed, I don't know that it was constructed that way, but the original design called for that center lane to be constructed as a future opportunity for a train to go back and forth across there.
And
I
we do
don't
know that
if
it was not built to hold the weight.
It was not, that's unfortunate, because that was why that fifth lane was put in there, in that design. That's a shame. For everybody that is here, can you sort of define what intermodal means? Because I've seen the visioning for the Clearwater Intermodal, and it's not just your regular bus stop. So I think it would be nice to, and maybe that was gone over last month with the MPO, and I just missed it, but.
No, I mean, it's sort of a transfer center on steroids. So an intermodal center usually means there's multiple modes coming in. It can be, in some cases, rail, bus, park and ride, bicycle, taxis. All of those things can be accommodated on this site. At one point, we were even talking about co-locating with the new city hall and coming up with some designs for that. I don't know if that'll happen this time around, if we'll continue that conversation, but we are talking about what there are other opportunities to put. So an intermodal connection really just means that people have multiple ways to access it. We would primarily be focusing on bus, but we definitely know that we need to have some kind of taxi stand. Clearwater is talking about bike share. We'd like to talk about how we have the opportunity for park and rides, and then maybe leave some room for any future investments that might happen.
How close is this to the ferry that goes across Clearwater Bay?
It's not that
I'm not from, I don't go up to Clearwater that often.
It's not that far. It's maybe a few blocks, but you have to also then walk down the hill from the bluff.
Okay, I know you have to go down a hill to get to that
Yeah.
ferry. I just wasn't sure how close they were.
You're probably about 6 or 8 blocks from the ferry.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's not a bad walk, because you can go straight down Cleveland Street, which I think is on that photo. I'm still trying to figure out the photo, but,
Cleveland's up to the top.
So Cleveland's
right
oh,
corner.
yeah, okay, yeah, it's clear up there, isn't it? Now, that's what I've been trying to figure out where this even was. Okay, I got you. But it's still
That's
about
the
8 blocks.
Pinellas Trail, that
This
east.
is the Pinellas Trail right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Okay.
And Court Street is Highway 60, for those that don't know
Yeah,
what that is, so.
So you would go down here to get,
Oh, okay.
you have to take a right at Osceola.
Oh,
And then go down.
It's the
there.
Scientology building, the other
There's the Scientology building, the Scientology building.
parts. It is, sir.
Awesome, any more questions?
No,
Oh, sorry.
very exciting.
How come the beach wasn't closer to the beach? It's closer to the intercoastal rather than the beach, like the pier and all that. Is that possible? I just think it would be better. And I also wonder, you're gonna have large amounts, hopefully, of people off these buses, and they're gonna have to go, everywhere, but I would guess most of them are going to the pier and the beach, and, they're gonna have to cross that.
We do have to make some pedestrian accommodations for people to get over to more of the activity areas of the pier. But we talked to the city about what a location is suitable for them, and this was their recommendation for that. I think if we looked at some opportunities to have this many buses come together up north, and that really adds a lot of time to the operation, and sort of leaves out the south. And in the south, we really couldn't find a location that had enough space for us to have this many buses come together at once. And what we really need is all of those buses to connect to each other so that there's a consolidated place so we can direct people to a single location. So this was about as close as we could get to the activity.
Dave?
You'll also have the ability to turn those buses around. When you meter, I presume, you'll be able to U-turn and go right back to the airport without running the.
Just the round.
Yeah.
Well, yes, yes, so
So you'll-
operationally, this works really well for us. This would have to be something that's a part of a bigger plan. We are talking to the city about in the future, as they redesign the marina, that we would have a sister platform on the south side, so that people could get off on the north side and on the south side. And until they redesign the marina, people could get on and off. But yes, the operationally, the TIA Express and the coastal route, for that matter, would come into the transfer center, and then as they were going back to their next run, they would come around the circle and go straight out.
I think too, with the growth on the beach, there's very little other area that would facilitate the amount of space that you need to do that too. I
Some of
can't
the-
imagine anywhere else it would fit.
And even some of the streets back here, trying to get closer to their new garage, is, some turns are very difficult for some of the vehicles.
Awesome. Anyone else?
I would just like to add, and I don't know, it sounds like, I'm not sure which of the track representatives, do any of you live in Clearwater?
I do.
Oh, you do, okay. Well, all of us know that of what Clearwater Beach is. It's like that Yogi Berra place. It's so crowded, no one ever wants to go there. But, you know, as Cassandra said at the beginning, we talk a lot about the different services down in St. Petersburg, but the city of Clearwater and PSTA have been working for a while now, as you can see, on this issue about Clearwater Beach. That bridge it is so congested through more than just spring break, but through large parts of the summertime, that I know that the city is doing a whole master planning exercise right now to look at that Bluffs area and the ferry boat and the intermodal center and all possible ways to get out to where everyone wants to go, the beach, rather than in your own car across that bridge. And so the ferry boat has taken off and is doing much more traffic than it used to. And then, as she showed on the other slide, there's a bunch of trolleys that do great during spring break and other times as well. And they can all be enhanced with that busway and then this new transit center. The transit center there at the Circle, and then also in downtown Clearwater. The thing is, no one until just recently, until PSA put that map right there together, has really ever looked at this in kind of this holistic way. But what are ways in which we can help with the traffic congestion at Clearwater Beach? You know, for most of the rest of Pinellas County, yes, traffic is bad, especially during rush hour, but at least without something like a Greenland Pinellas, there's not really many options we can look at. But here on Clearwater Beach, you know, we have a real opportunity for transit to make a difference in getting more, in really benefiting the city of Clearwater. They keep building more and more hotels on Clearwater Beach. The value of the land is so high. Moving and building new parking garages so that you can put more cars on there is not as high a value as building another hotel. And if we can get people out there in a different way so they don't have to have their car sit there on the beach, even better.
Absolutely. Anyone else?
Question about the Clearwater, the intermodal. Do you think it would make more sense if the station went, that's a hub, if it went like south of Court and north of Chestnut, I believe it is, so the buses could get in, you know, more easily, and maybe more towards either Fort Harrison or, well, it's at Myrtle.
We've looked at the available parcels in within a certain distance of Park Street. So we want to make sure that we have something that's operationally close to what we're, to the center of downtown. So we've looked at a number of sites already. We could bring the site selection information to you to show you the sites that we looked at. But it's also difficult to find, difficult to find the space to do what we need to do.
Especially one that the city already owns and can contribute. I mean, that has to have been helpful.
Yes. But anything in that area, operationally would be good. It's just a matter of the size of the facility that we need to build in order to expand. But it's, we did look at a number of sites all over the place.
Because that's kind of like, I guess I would consider that like the outskirt of downtown. There's not really a lot.
Unless they
east.
want to put right on the bluff.
Yeah, there really isn't a whole lot other area to build on.
Well, yeah, because you can see on that map where the current Park Street Terminal is, and then just right, a very upper corner of that picture that's Fort Harrison. And then,
Yeah, there's really just no place else to put it right now. Elizabeth, did you have a question?
Yes. What are they gonna do with the old property? The old Park Street?
It's a very good question.
Somebody's gonna use it, and-
Somebody is going
Yeah.
to use it. So
but not
we have,
necessarily PSTA.
we know that, that the city is interested in that,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
as well.
Something good will happen.
maybe the City Hall, maybe build a parking garage for
That makes sense, actually.
an aquarium. Maybe the Scientologists are interested in also build.
The aquarium's not going downtown, so it's Saturday.
Right.
Garden garage would be a great idea. Okay, super. Anyone else? Cassandra, that's awesome.
That's great.
Is that it? I think that's it. Any other business to bring before the committee today? I just want to take a moment to say thank you for allowing me to have been your chair for the past almost 3 years, and it's been quite the experience. I've enjoyed each and every one of you, and I know the ones that are new to the committee are going to have an awesome experience, both with staff and with each other, and I am leaving you in very capable hands with Miss Gloria Morgan and Mr. Carson
We are
over
not going to
there.
be able to, we are not going to be able to.
Oh, please, that's silly, but I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to both Brad and Cassandra and all the staff that are here and everyone that's here, and because of the way the holidays fall, we will not be having a December meeting, so the next meeting will be January, what is it? 17th, and will be presided over by your new chair and vice chair. Oh, yes, Miss Cassandra.
Before you go, please know that we will mail to you your January pass. And so even people who are not here, we will give them their pass for January, because we will not have a December meeting.
Thank you.
And I would just like to say on behalf of PSTA staff, certainly, to thank you, Elaine, for, she started as our first chair of this, well, 3 years ago, we completely kind of revised the committee. There was a committee before that didn't really report to the board and didn't do a lot of stuff, and really it was thanks to Elaine as the chair for setting this committee up to be as influential with the board as it is. And I don't think that would have been possible without what Elaine has done over the last couple of years. So we do leave it in. It is in great hands. We have a great new chair and vice chair and great new committee members. But it certainly is thanks to a lot of work that Elaine did in getting us going on the right foot. And she's been really a great chair for this committee. So I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure. For sure. Well, thank you and happy holidays to everyone, regardless of what you'll be celebrating.
Okay.
I know, I was going to go in the next.
Finally. One block off of Main Street in downtown Dunedin.
Wow, that's great.